You are standing at a crossroads right now, whether you know it or not. Every single moment of your life, you're making a choice about where you're going to place your attention. And I want to tell you something that might shake up everything you think you know about how life works. Your attention is the most powerful force you possess. It's more powerful than your circumstances. It's more powerful than what other people think about you. It's more powerful than your past, your bank account, or anything that's happened to you up until this very second. Most people go through their entire lives never understanding this fundamental truth. They give their attention away like it's worthless. They let every little thing that happens disturb them, upset them, knock them off course. Someone cuts them off in traffic and they're angry for the next 2 hours. Someone says something critical and they carry that weight around for days, weeks, sometimes years. The economy shifts, the weather changes, their neighbor buys a new car, and suddenly they're in turmoil. They've handed over the remote control of their emotional life to everything and everyone around them. But here's what I need you to understand. When you allow external circumstances to disturb your inner peace, you're essentially saying that those circumstances are more powerful than you are. You're declaring that you're a victim. And I'm here to tell you that you are not a victim. You never were, and you never will be, unless you choose to see yourself that way. Now, I want to talk to you about something I call objective attention. This is the key that opens every door you've been trying to break down. Objective attention means you observe what's happening in your life without assigning it the power to control how you feel. You see it for what it is, nothing more and nothing less. Someone criticizes you, and instead of immediately feeling hurt or defensive, you simply observe that criticism as information. You look at it objectively. Is there truth in it? Can you learn from it? If yes, take the lesson. If no, let it pass by like a cloud in the sky. You see, most people practice subjective attention. They take everything personally. Everything that happens is about them, to them, against them. They're the center of a universe that seems designed to hurt them or help them, and they ride this emotional roller coaster day after day, exhausted and confused about why life feels so hard. But when you shift to objective attention, everything changes. You begin to see that most of what happens in the world has nothing to do with you at all. That person who was rude to you at the store, they're probably dealing with pain you know nothing about. That friend who didn't return your call, they might be overwhelmed with their own struggles. When you stop taking everything personally, you free yourself from a prison you didn't even know you were in. Now let me ask you something. What are you giving power to right now in your life? What external circumstance have you decided gets to determine whether you're happy or miserable? Is it your job, your relationship, the number in your bank account, your health, the opinion of your family? I want you to really think about this, because this is where your freedom lies. Every single thing you're worried about, every single thing that's disturbing your peace right now, only has the power you give it. And you can take that power back anytime you choose. This isn't about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. This is about understanding that you get to choose your response to everything that happens. Let me tell you about the nature of vision. When I talk about vision, I'm not talking about your eyesight. I'm talking about your inner vision, your sense of purpose, your connection to something bigger than your current circumstances. Every person has this vision inside them. It's that quiet knowing of who you really are and what you're here to do. But most people lose touch with this vision because they let too many things disturb it. Your vision is like a clear pool of water. When you allow disturbances, when you react to every ripple and wave that comes your way, that water becomes muddy and unclear. You can't see the truth anymore. You can't see who you are. You can't see where you're going. But when you practice objective attention, when you refuse to give power to the things that want to disturb you, that water stays clear. Your vision remains intact. Think about the great teachers, the great leaders, the people who've changed the world. What did they all have in common? They had an unshakable inner vision, and they refused to let circumstances disturb it. When everyone around them said it couldn't be done, they kept moving forward. When obstacles appeared, they found another way. When people criticized them, mocked them, even tried to destroy them, they stayed connected to that inner knowing. You have this same capacity. It's not reserved for special people or enlightened masters. It's your birthright as a human being. But you have to claim it. You have to decide right now, in this moment, that you're not going to give your power away anymore. Now, here's what happens when you start practicing this. At first, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You've spent your whole life reacting to things, letting things disturb you, giving your power away. It's become a habit, an automatic response. So when you start to change this, your ego is going to resist. It's going to tell you that you need to be upset. It's going to insist that this situation or that person deserves your anger, your worry, your anxiety. But this is where you have to be strong. This is where you have to remember that you're not your ego. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're the awareness behind all of that. You're the one who can choose which thoughts to follow and which to let go. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you wake up tomorrow morning and you check your email, and there's a message from someone criticizing something you did. Now, your immediate reaction might be to feel hurt, to feel defensive, to want to fire back an angry response, or to spend the whole day ruminating about what they said. This is giving that email power over you. This is letting it disturb your vision. But what if instead you read that email with objective attention? You observe it. You notice the criticism. You notice your initial emotional reaction, but you don't identify with it. You ask yourself, is there something useful here? Is there a valid point being made that I can learn from? And if there is, you take it. You grow from it. And if there isn't, you let it go. You don't carry it with you. You don't let it ruin your day. You don't give it power. This is freedom. This is what it means to be truly alive and awake in your life. Now, I want to talk about something that holds so many people back from living this way. It's the belief that if you don't react, if you don't get upset, if you don't let things disturb you, then somehow you don't care. People think that their anger or their worry or their anxiety is proof that they care about something. But this is a complete misunderstanding. You can care deeply about something without letting it disturb your inner peace. In fact, you can care more effectively when you're coming from a place of peace rather than a place of turmoil. When you're calm and centered, you can see solutions that you'd never see when you're reactive and upset. You can respond with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion. Think about this. When you're angry or anxious or worried, are you at your best? Do you make good decisions? Do you treat people well? Do you take effective action? Of course not. You're operating from a place of weakness, even though it might feel like strength in the moment. But when you're peaceful and centered, when you refuse to let circumstances disturb you, that's when you're truly powerful. That's when you can change things. Your vision, your purpose, your inner knowing of who you are and what you're meant to do in this life, this is the most precious thing you have. And you have to protect it, you have to guard it the way you'd guard something priceless. Because it is priceless. Everything else in your life flows from this vision. Your relationships, your work, your health, your happiness, all of it comes from staying connected to this inner truth. But every day, there are 1,000 things trying to pull you away from it. The news is trying to convince you that the world is falling apart. Social media is trying to make you feel inadequate. Your well-meaning friends and family are trying to impose their fears and limitations on you. Your own mind is generating worry and anxiety about things that haven't even happened yet and probably never will. And here's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you going to let all of this noise disturb your vision? Are you going to give all of these external things the power to determine how you feel and what you believe is possible for your life? I'm telling you right now, you don't have to. You can choose differently. You can decide in this moment that from now on you're going to practice objective attention. You're going to observe what's happening without immediately reacting to it. You're going to ask yourself, does this align with my vision? Does this serve my highest good? And if it doesn't, you're going to let it go. Now, this doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. It doesn't mean you don't feel emotions. It means you're the master of your emotions instead of being mastered by them. It means you feel what you feel, but you don't let those feelings control your life. And let me tell you something else. When you stop giving power to external circumstances, when you stop letting things disturb you, something miraculous happens. You start to realize that you are not separate from the creative force that runs this entire universe. You start to understand that the same intelligence that grows flowers and spins planets and heals wounds is working through you. But it can only work through you when you're in alignment with it. And you can't be in alignment with it when you're constantly disturbed and reactive. Think about nature for a moment. The sun doesn't stop shining because clouds appear. The ocean doesn't stop its rhythm because a storm passes over. A tree doesn't refuse to grow because someone carved their initials in its bark. Nature stays connected to its essential purpose. It doesn't give power to disturbances. You are part of nature. You are not separate from it. You have this same capacity to stay connected to your essential purpose, regardless of what's happening around you. But you have to choose it. You have to practice it. You have to make it a way of life. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, this sounds good, but you don't know my situation. You don't know how hard my life is. You don't know what I'm dealing with. And you're right, I don't know your specific circumstances. But I do know this. Whatever you're going through, it doesn't have to define you. Whatever has happened to you, it doesn't have to determine what happens next. You see, most people are living their lives backward. They're waiting for circumstances to change before they change how they feel. They're waiting for other people to treat them better before they treat themselves better. They're waiting for proof that things will work out before they believe things will work out. But this is exactly backward. Your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality. What you believe, what you focus on, what you give your attention to, this creates your experience of life. So if you're constantly giving your attention to what's wrong, to what's not working, to what disturbs you, then that's what you're going to get more of. That's just how it works. But when you shift your attention, when you focus on your vision, when you refuse to give power to disturbances, your external reality begins to shift. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. Solutions present themselves. People show up to help you. Synchronicities happen, not because the universe suddenly decided to favor you, but because you're finally in alignment with the creative force that's always been there, waiting for you to tap into it. Let me tell you about the power of a single decision. Right now, in this moment, you can decide that nothing gets to disturb your vision anymore. You can decide that you're going to practice objective attention in every situation. You can decide that you're taking back your power. And the moment you make that decision, really make it, not just think about it, but truly commit to it, everything begins to change. Now, this doesn't mean everything becomes easy. It doesn't mean challenges disappear. It means you approach those challenges from a completely different place. Instead of being a victim of circumstances, you become a conscious creator. Instead of reacting to life, you respond to it with wisdom and clarity. Think about the word responsibility. Most people hear that word and think it means burden or obligation. But break it down. Responsibility. It's the ability to choose your response. It's the ultimate freedom. No matter what happens to you, you have the ability to choose how you respond. And that ability is something no one can ever take away from you unless you give it away. So many people have given away this ability. They become so conditioned to react automatically to everything that they don't even realize they have a choice anymore. Someone pushes their buttons and they react. Something doesn't go their way and they react. They're like machines, programmed to respond in predictable ways to external stimuli. But you're not a machine. You're a conscious being with the power to choose, and every moment is an opportunity to exercise that power. Every disturbance that comes your way is actually an opportunity to practice staying connected to your vision, to practice objective attention, to practice reclaiming your power. Now, let's talk about what your vision actually is. For many people, their vision has been buried under years of conditioning, other people's expectations, fear, and doubt. They've forgotten what they really want. They've forgotten who they really are. They're living someone else's life, trying to meet someone else's standards and wondering why they feel so empty and unfulfilled. Your vision is your unique contribution to this world. It's what you came here to do, to be, to express. And it doesn't have to be something grand or world-changing in the conventional sense. It might be to be a loving parent. It might be to create beauty through art or music. It might be to help people heal. It might be to build something, to teach something, to simply be a presence of peace wherever you go. Whatever it is, it's yours, and it's perfect, and it's enough. You don't have to justify it or explain it or convince anyone else that it's worthwhile. You just have to honor it. You have to stay connected to it. You have to protect it from all the things that want to disturb it and pull you off course. And here's something beautiful. When you stay true to your vision, when you refuse to let things disturb it, you give other people permission to do the same. You become a living example of what's possible. You show people that there's another way to live, not by preaching or teaching, but just by being who you are. So many people are asleep. They're moving through life on autopilot, reacting to everything, letting everything disturb them, wondering why nothing ever changes. But when they see someone who's awake, someone who's living from their vision, someone who refuses to give their power away, something inside them recognizes it. Something inside them remembers that they have this capacity too. This is how the world changes, not through force or fighting, but through individuals deciding to wake up, to reclaim their power, to live from their vision, one person at a time, making the choice to no longer be disturbed by circumstances, to practice objective attention, to stay connected to what matters most. Now, I want to address something that comes up a lot. People say, if I don't worry, if I don't stress, if I don't let things disturb me, then nothing will get done. I won't be motivated. I'll just become passive and complacent. But this is a complete misunderstanding of how motivation works. True motivation doesn't come from fear or anxiety or worry. That's not motivation, that's desperation. Real motivation comes from connection to your vision. It comes from knowing who you are and what you're here to do. It comes from alignment with something bigger than yourself. And this kind of motivation is sustainable. It doesn't burn you out. It doesn't leave you exhausted and depleted. It energizes you, that it fills you up. When you're connected to your vision, you don't need external circumstances to motivate you. You don't need to wait until things get so bad that you finally take action. You act from inspiration, not desperation. You move forward because you're drawn to your vision, not because you're running from your fear. And here's what's interesting. When you operate this way, you get better results with less effort. You're working with the natural flow of life instead of against it. You're not pushing and forcing and struggling. You're allowing, you're receiving, you're cooperating with the intelligence that runs everything. But you can only access this flow when you're peaceful inside. You can't access it when you're disturbed and reactive and giving your power away to every little thing that happens. The flow requires stillness. It requires trust. It requires faith that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you're meant to become. This is where objective attention becomes so powerful. When you can observe your life without judgment, without immediately labeling everything as good or bad, right or wrong, you can see the perfection in all of it. You can see that everything that's happening is actually serving your growth, your evolution, your journey back to yourself. Now, some people hear this and they think it means you should just accept everything and never try to change anything. But that's not what I'm saying at all. There's a difference between acceptance and resignation. Acceptance means you acknowledge what is. You don't resist reality. You don't waste your energy arguing with what's already happened. But from that place of acceptance, you can then take inspired action to create something different. Resignation is giving up. It's deciding that nothing matters and nothing can change. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about accepting what is while simultaneously holding your vision of what can be. We're talking about being present with reality while staying connected to possibility. This is the paradox that confuses so many people. They think they have to choose between accepting things as they are or working to change them. But you can do both. In fact, you must do both if you want to be truly effective in life. When you accept what is, you stop wasting energy on resistance. You stop making yourself miserable by arguing with reality. This doesn't mean you like what's happening or that you want it to continue. It just means you're not fighting against what's already true. And from this place of acceptance, from this place of peace, you can actually see clearly what action to take next. But when you're in resistance, when you're letting circumstances disturb you, you can't see clearly. Your vision is clouded by emotion. You make decisions from fear or anger or desperation. And those decisions usually make things worse, not better. So the path is this. Observe what is happening with objective attention. Don't give it the power to disturb your inner peace. Accept the reality of this moment without resistance. Stay connected to your vision of what's possible. And then take whatever action feels aligned and inspired. This is how you create real change in your life. Not by fighting against what you don't want, but by staying connected to what you do want and taking consistent action from that place of connection. Now let me tell you something about obstacles and challenges. They're going to come. That's not a problem, that's just life. But the way you relate to them determines everything. Most people see obstacles as evidence that they're on the wrong path, that things aren't working, that they should give up. They let obstacles disturb their vision. But what if obstacles are actually part of the path? What if they're here to strengthen you, to teach you, to help you develop the qualities you need to fulfill your vision? What if every challenge is actually an invitation to go deeper, to connect more fully to who you really are? When you see obstacles this way, they lose their power to disturb you. You don't avoid them or fear them or let them knock you off course. You meet them with curiosity. You ask, what is this here to teach me? How is this serving my growth? What quality am I being called to develop? This is objective attention at its finest. You're not making the obstacle mean something about you. You're not taking it personally. You're not letting it define your worth or determine whether you're on the right path. You're simply observing it as part of the experience of being alive and asking how you can grow from it. And here's what's amazing. When you approach obstacles this way, they often resolve themselves much more quickly than when you resist them. Solutions appear, help arrives, things shift, not always in the way you expected, but often in ways that are even better than what you had planned. This is because you're no longer blocking the flow with your resistance and your need for things to be different than they are. You're allowing life to unfold while staying true to your vision. You're being flexible in your approach while remaining firm in your intention. Now, I want to talk about the people in your life. This is where so many people give their power away. They let other people's opinions, judgments, moods, and behaviors disturb their inner peace. They make other people responsible for how they feel. They give other people the power to determine their worth, their happiness, their sense of self. But here's the truth. No one can make you feel anything. No one can disturb your peace unless you let them. Yes, people will do and say things. That's their choice. But your response is your choice. You can let it affect you, or you can observe it with objective attention and let it pass by. This doesn't mean you stay in relationships that are harmful or tolerate abuse. That's not what I'm saying at all. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create distance from people who are consistently hurtful or toxic. But you can do that from a place of peace, from a place of clarity, not from a place of being disturbed and reactive. When you practice objective attention with the people in your life, something interesting happens. You stop trying to control them. You stop needing them to be different than they are so that you can be okay. You allow them to be whoever they're going to be, and you choose how you want to respond. This is freedom. This is what it means to have healthy boundaries. Not walls that keep everyone out, but clear awareness of where you end and others begin. Clear understanding that you're responsible for your experience and they're responsible for theirs. And when you live this way, your relationships actually improve. People feel your peace. They feel that you're not trying to control them or change them or make them responsible for your emotional state. This creates space for real connection, for authentic relating, for love to flow naturally. But it all starts with refusing to give other people the power to disturb your vision. It starts with understanding that their behavior is about them, not about you. Even when they say it's about you, even when they make it personal, it's still about them. It's still their perspective, their pain, their conditioning, their journey. You don't have to take on other people's stuff. You don't have to carry their judgments or their fears or their limitations. You can acknowledge their experience without making it yours. You can have compassion for what they're going through without letting it disturb your peace. This is mature love. This is what it means to be truly present with someone without losing yourself in the process. And it's only possible when you're committed to protecting your vision, to practicing objective attention, to refusing to give your power away. Now, let's talk about the future. So much disturbance in people's lives comes from worrying about what might happen. They create entire scenarios in their minds about terrible things that could occur. And then they respond to those imaginary scenarios as if they're real. They let future possibilities that may never happen disturb their present moment peace. But here's what you need to understand. The future doesn't exist yet. It hasn't happened. All you have is this moment right now. And in this moment right now, you have everything you need. You're breathing. You're alive. You have the capacity to choose your response to whatever is in front of you. When you worry about the future, you're essentially saying that you don't trust life. You're saying that you believe you're separate from the creative intelligence that runs everything, and you have to figure it all out with your limited human mind. But you're not separate. You're part of the whole. And the same intelligence that knows how to beat your heart and digest your food and turn an acorn into an oak tree knows how to guide your life if you'll let it. But you can't hear that guidance when you're disturbed. You can't receive that wisdom when your mind is full of worry and anxiety about what might happen tomorrow or next week or next year. You have to be present. You have to be still. You have to trust. This is where objective attention becomes so important with your thoughts about the future. When you notice yourself worrying, you can observe that worry without believing it. You can notice the thought without identifying with it. You can say, oh, there's my mind trying to predict the future again. There's my ego trying to control everything. And then you can gently bring yourself back to this moment. Because this moment is all there is. This moment is where your power lives. This moment is where you can connect to your vision and take the next step. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take the next step. And then the next one. Trust this process. Trust that you're being guided. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Not because everything is perfect or easy, but because everything is serving your highest good, even when you can't see how. Let me tell you something about faith. Real faith isn't believing that everything will work out the way you want it to. Real faith is knowing that however things work out, you'll be okay. You'll be more than okay. You'll be exactly where you need to be, learning what you need to learn, becoming who you need to become. This kind of faith gives you unshakable peace. It allows you to move through life without being disturbed by outcomes. You can set intentions, take action, work toward goals, but you're not attached to specific results. You're open to something even better than what you planned. You're allowing life to surprise you, to guide you, to show you possibilities you never even considered. But this only works when you stop giving power to circumstances. It only works when you practice objective attention. It only works when you protect your vision from all the things that want to disturb it. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Starting right now, become aware of what you're giving your power to. Notice when something disturbs your peace. Don't judge yourself for it. Just notice it. And then ask yourself, Do I want to give this thing power over me? Do I want to let this disturb my vision? If the answer is no, then choose differently. Observe the situation with objective attention. See it for what it is, nothing more and nothing less. Take whatever action feels aligned, if any action is needed, and then let it go. Don't carry it with you. Don't let it take up residence in your mind and heart. Practice this every single day, multiple times a day. Every time something happens that would normally disturb you, pause. Take a breath. Choose your response consciously instead of reacting automatically. Stay connected to your vision. Remember who you are and what you're here to do. At first, this will feel difficult. You'll forget. You'll react. You'll give your power away. That's okay. That's part of the process. Just notice it, be gentle with yourself, and begin again. Every moment is a new opportunity to choose differently. And over time, something shifts. You'll find that fewer and fewer things disturb you. You'll move through life with more peace, more clarity, more joy. Not because your circumstances have become perfect, but because you've stopped giving your circumstances the power to determine how you feel. You'll find that your vision becomes clearer and stronger. You'll know with absolute certainty who you are and what you're here to do. And nothing will be able to shake that knowing. Not other people's opinions, not obstacles or challenges, not fear or doubt or uncertainty. This is the life that's available to you right now. Not someday when everything is perfect. Not when you've achieved certain things or accumulated certain things. Right now, in this moment, you can choose to live from your vision. You can choose to practice objective attention. You can choose to stop giving your power away. And when you make this choice, when you really commit to it, you'll discover that you've been free all along. The prison you thought you were in was just an illusion, created by giving power to things that never deserved it. The limitations you believed were real were just thoughts you took too seriously. You are so much more than you've been taught to believe. You are so much more powerful than you've been led to think. You are connected to infinite intelligence, infinite creativity, infinite love. But you can only access that connection when you're at peace. You can only tap into that power when you refuse to be disturbed. So make the commitment today. Commit to protecting your vision. Commit to practicing objective attention. Commit to taking back your power from everything you've given it to. This is your life we're talking about. This is your one chance to be fully alive, fully awake, fully yourself. Don't waste another moment giving your power away to things that don't matter. Don't let another day go by where circumstances determine how you feel. You are the creator of your experience. You are the master of your inner world. And when you master your inner world, your outer world will reflect that mastery back to you in ways that will amaze you. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is practical wisdom that works when you apply it. But you have to apply it. You have to practice it. You have to make it a way of life, and that starts right now, in this moment, with this choice. Choose your vision over your circumstances. Choose peace over reaction. Choose awareness over autopilot. Choose freedom over victimhood. These are the choices that will transform your life from the inside out. And remember, you're not alone in this. The same force that created everything is with you, guiding you, supporting you, loving you. You just have to align yourself with it by refusing to let anything disturb your connection to it. Stay true to your vision. Practice objective attention and watch as your life unfolds in ways more beautiful than you ever thought possible. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your life. Live it fully. Live it consciously. Live it from your vision, not from your circumstances, and never, ever give anything the power to disturb that vision again. There's something I need you to understand about the nature of disturbance itself. When something disturbs you, what's really happening? You're interpreting an event through the filter of your conditioned beliefs and past experiences. You're adding meaning that isn't inherently there. A situation occurs completely neutral in itself, and then your mind jumps in with its commentary, its judgments, its stories about what it means and why it's terrible and what might happen next. The disturbance isn't in the event. The disturbance is in your interpretation of the event. When you truly grasp this, it changes everything. You start to see that you're disturbing yourself. The world isn't doing it to you. Your boss isn't doing it to you. Your spouse isn't doing it to you. Your financial situation isn't doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself by the meanings you assign and the stories you tell about what's happening. And if you're doing it to yourself, then you can stop doing it to yourself. You have that power. Think about two people experiencing the exact same event. One person is completely devastated by it. The other person remains peaceful, even sees opportunity in it. Same event, totally different experience. Why? Because they're interpreting it differently. They're assigning different meanings. One person is giving it the power to disturb them, and the other isn't. This proves that the disturbance isn't in the event itself. Now here's where this gets really interesting. When you stop disturbing yourself, when you stop giving power to circumstances, you actually become more effective at changing those circumstances if they need to be changed. You're coming from clarity instead of confusion. You're operating from wisdom instead of fear. You can see options and possibilities that were invisible to you when you were all caught up in the disturbance. Let me tell you about the energy of disturbance versus the energy of peace. When you're disturbed, your energy is scattered. You're focused on the problem, on how wrong it is, on how it shouldn't be happening, on all the terrible things that might result from it. This scattered energy creates more of what you don't want. It's like you're watering the weeds in your garden while ignoring the flowers. But when you're at peace, when you refuse to be disturbed, your energy is focused and powerful. You're not wasting it on resistance and reaction. You're channeling it into creative solutions, into positive action, into manifesting what you do want. Your peace becomes magnetic. It attracts people, opportunities, and resources that can help you. But none of this can happen when you're in a state of disturbance. So every time you choose peace over disturbance, you're not just making yourself feel better, you're actually increasing your power to create positive change in your life. You're aligning yourself with the creative forces of the universe. You're becoming a cooperative component in your own evolution. And let's talk about what happens to your body when you're constantly disturbed. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. When you're worried, anxious, angry, or upset, your body goes into stress mode. Your heart rate increases. Your blood pressure rises. Stress hormones flood your system. Your immune system is suppressed. Over time, this chronic stress creates illness, disease, and premature aging. But when you practice objective attention, when you refuse to let things disturb you, your body can relax, it can heal, it can function the way it was designed to function. You're not constantly triggering the stress response over things that aren't actually threatening your survival. You're allowing your body to rest in its natural state of balance and health. Your body is listening to your thoughts. It's responding to your emotional state. Every time you choose peace, you're sending a message to every cell in your body that everything is okay, that it's safe to relax, to heal, to thrive. This isn't just feel-good philosophy. This is biology. This is how your body actually works. Now, I want to address something that stops a lot of people from practicing this way of living. They're afraid that if they stop being disturbed by things, they'll lose their edge. They believe their stress and worry and anger are what make them successful, what keep them motivated, what give them their drive. But this is one of the biggest lies we've been sold. Success that comes from a place of disturbance is hollow. It's exhausting. It's unsustainable. You might achieve things, but you won't enjoy them. You might accumulate wealth, but you won't have peace. You might impress other people, but you won't impress yourself. And eventually the whole thing will collapse because it's built on a foundation of stress and struggle. True success, lasting success, fulfilling success comes from alignment with your vision. It comes from inspired action, not desperate action. It comes from being connected to your purpose, not from running away from your fears. And this kind of success feels completely different. It feels effortless, even when you're working hard. It feels joyful, even when you're facing challenges. It feels right in your bones. So stop believing the lie that you need to be disturbed to be successful. You don't. You need to be clear. You need to be focused. You need to be connected to your vision. And disturbance prevents all of that. It clouds your clarity. It scatters your focus. It disconnects you from your vision. Let me share something with you about the present moment. All your power exists right here, right now. Not in the past, not in the future, but in this eternal now. And disturbance always takes you out of the present moment. It takes you into the past, replaying things that happened, wishing they'd been different, or it takes you into the future, worrying about things that haven't happened and may never happen. But when you practice objective attention, you anchor yourself in the present moment. You observe what is without getting lost in stories about what was or what might be, and in the present moment you have access to infinite intelligence. You can hear the quiet voice of intuition that guides you perfectly when you listen to it. You can feel the rightness of your next step. You can experience the peace that passes all understanding. This is where miracles happen, not in the past or the future, but right here in the now. But you can't access the power of now when you're disturbed. You're somewhere else, lost in your thoughts, disconnected from the only moment that actually exists, to bring yourself back again and again and again. Every time you notice you're disturbed, that's actually a gift. It's an opportunity to choose again, to come back to now, to reconnect with your vision, to remember who you really are. The disturbance is showing you where you're giving your power away so you can reclaim it. Your life is happening now, not tomorrow when things are better, not next year when you've achieved your goals, not when other people finally understand you or appreciate you. Now. And you can either experience this moment with peace and presence, or you can miss it entirely because you're too busy being disturbed by something that ultimately doesn't matter. What will you choose? Because it is a choice. Every single moment you're choosing. Most people don't realize this. They think they're victims of their circumstances, victims of their emotions, victims of other people. But you're not a victim, you're a creator. You're creating your experience with every choice you make about where to place your attention and what meaning to assign to the events of your life. So create consciously. Choose peace. Choose presence. Choose to protect your vision from anything and everything that wants to disturb it. This is your birthright. This is your true nature. This is who you really are underneath all the conditioning and fear and false beliefs. You are peace itself. You are awareness itself. You are love itself. Everything else is just temporary clouds passing across the eternal sky of your being.